Thank you, Mike, and it's 9 minutes after the hour. 20 years ago in Vietnam began an extraordinary story. A soldier named Walter Murphy asked one of his Army buddies to deliver a gold ring to his high school sweetheart back home in California if he should die in combat. Well, he did die. His Army buddy, Robert Buono, was injured, and much of the information that he had on the girlfriend, including her name, was lost. For 20 years, Mr. Buono, who is now an artist in Hammond, Indiana, has tried to find Murphy's girl. Last month, Bob Green got wind of this, wrote some stories for it in his syndicated column. And last night, Robert Buono and Murphy's girl, whose name is Dorothy Hughes, finally met at the Chicago airport. And all three of them are joining us this morning from Chicago. Good morning to all three of you.
Good morning.
Nice to have you here. Well, I should ask you first, Dorothy, do you have the ring?
Yes, I do.
Where is it?
I have it on.
Let me see
right here
it.
on my finger.
Okay, all right. Robert, tell me something. What happened that began all this in Vietnam 20 years ago?
What happened to me? One day, Murphy picked a kind of a quiet moment and walked up and said that he had something special for me to do, that I was the only one that could do it, and gave me that ring and a message for Dorothy, and asked me to promise to deliver it, and I did. He
had a premonition about what was going to happen to him?
Oh, yeah, it's, yes, he had a very accurate premonition. He was very calm. He said he was going to die, and wasn't excited at all, and proceeded to tell me what was going to happen to me for the next 20 years.
There was no indication at that point.
No, there's nothing wrong with him.
That he was going to be. I mean, he was just, you were in battle most of the time, or some of the time, or what?
Well, the combat was, in Nam was a guerrilla warfare, so you never knew when it was going to happen. And you would go for the dry season, maybe a month, or not have anything happen. As it got closer to our Christmas, their tat, it would begin to gradually accelerate. And we hadn't been in battle for a couple of days, and we didn't know when the next time was going to be.
But he was killed soon after he gave you the ring.
Yes, a couple of weeks by on a normal road security operation. We were securing a base camp that was being taken over by an entire unit of people that weren't accustomed to being in Vietnam.
Now, Dorothy, what was your status when Murphy went off to war?
I was still in high school, and I was 17 years old, and we had planned to get married when he came home. Murphy wanted to marry before he left, but since I was still in high school, I wanted to wait till he came home. So we were at the engagement point.
Stage, in effect.
Yes.
And when did you hear of his death, and how did you react to it?
Well, it was real shocking. I heard one evening, I don't remember what day it was, but his mother had called my mother and told her, and when I got home that evening, she told me what happened. And it was, for a 17-year-old, that type of news is so shocking that I just immediately withdrew from everything, from the whole information even.
And withdrew from it ever since, I gather. I mean, this is just something you haven't wanted to talk about.
That's right. I've never talked about it to anyone and never reconciled myself to it until just this last month.
And never married?
Never married.
Never dated much?
Yes, I dated, and several guys wanted to marry me, but I never felt right about it. It never was the right thing, so I never married.
Now, Robert, why did it take so long to find her?
Well, the Army is not very cooperative about giving information like that to any veteran about friends, and the VA refused. I would come up with an idea over the years, and I would execute that idea, locator services and things like that. And gradually the concept of the painting came to me.
What painting is this you're talking about?
I did what started a year ago. I started doing a painting of Murphy, myself, and Sam in Vietnam, and as we were then.
Sam being a third friend of yours?
Yeah, from New York.
Okay.
His name is Ward Samuelson.
Okay.
And I did all three of us because I thought the last time Dorothy had seen Murphy, he'd been a high school student, and I knew him as a combat soldier, and I've been told many times that I looked different and acted different when I came back. So I thought she might not recognize my memory of Murphy in the painting, so I included us. I knew that Murphy had given me the photographs that I had. He'd taken many photographs and sent them home.
So you did this painting of the three of you, hoping that somebody might see it, and you might be able to get a contact with Dorothy. Tell me, Bob Green, how did you get into this?
Well, I heard about this, and I realized that the chances were pretty slim that Robert was going to be able to exhibit this painting and find Dorothy. As you know, Charlie, I don't write about politics, and I don't write about national policy. I write about people. And I just thought that if I wrote about this painting and about Robert's search for Dorothy, my column goes out to over 200 newspapers. If she was out there, the chances were pretty good that we'd find her, or at least find out about her.
And how long did it take?
Well, I wrote the first column, and I got a call from Murphy's older brother in California, who said, "That's my kid brother. That's Walter Murphy." And I said, "Do you remember the girl?" And he said, "Well, her name was Dorothy something." And then his sister said the name was Dorothy Hughes. And I said, "Where did she go to high school?" And he said, "Northview High School in Covina, California." So I contacted the local paper in Covina, and I said, "Look, there can't be that many Dorothy Hughes who went to Northview High School back in the 60s. And so it took about 2 weeks, and one day I got a phone call, and they'd found Dorothy, and I called Robert up, and I said, "Robert, your search is over. Here she is." And last night they met.
Dorothy, it's 20 years. You get a ring that he held or had for you that long ago. Tell me, how does it feel?
It's so amazing. It's hard to express how it feels, but to me, this ring is a symbol of the love and the determination on Robert's part, and the healing process, and that's what it means to me, and I'm overjoyed to have it.
Well, Robert Buono, Dorothy Hughes, and Bob Green, thanks very much for being with us. Amazing story. It's now 17 minutes after the hour. Dean Stockwell and Beverly Hills Cop 2 after this.